Was a crossing route, but in comes Ryan Anderson. The ball is loose, picked up by Alabama. The Tides got it inside the 5-yard line. A'Shawn Robinson ends up with the football.
You've heard that voice before. It's legendary Alabama broadcaster Eli Gold, and here he is with me on the Red Zone set. Thanks for taking the time.
It's my pleasure. Good to be with you, and welcome to Birmingham, belatedly.
Yeah, thank you. That call at the end of the game of Tennessee was iconic because it was one of those games where Alabama, you didn't know if they were going to win the football game. What were your thoughts on that personally?
Well, I was concerned as the day went along, and of course, Coach Saban had warned everybody it was going to be a tough game. Oftentimes, folks don't necessarily take what he says to heart. Maybe they think it's coach speak or whatever it is, but you knew it was going to be a tough ball game, and indeed it was. But when necessary, when needed, Bama's defense came up huge, and that was a heck of a play to pretty well cement the victory.
And every fan wants their team to be perfect throughout the year.
Sure.
But championship teams, they always have adversity.
Yep.
Did you see that as an adversity moment or a cause for concern for Alabama?
I see that as an adversity moment, a heavyweight champion getting up off the canvas and coming up with that one punch to end the fight. But, you know, it was a tough game. There were areas that Alabama did not do as well, things that they didn't do as well as they would have liked, I'm sure, and things that they have worked on during this off week in preparation for next Saturday. So it's going to be it's going to be another tough ball game, clearly. But Bama found a way to win, and clearly at the same time, they knew they had to. At this stage of the season, after the loss to Ole Miss, on the national picture, at this moment, Bama is probably one more and done on the national picture.
Let's talk about that more. Let's assume Alabama wins out, and they're a one-loss team. Mm-hmm. Let's assume Ohio State, Michigan State, one of them's undefeated. Let's assume an undefeated Big 12 champion. Is Alabama the number one-loss team that's next?
I don't think there's any question. And again, people are going to accuse me of looking at the world through crimson-colored glasses.
It's realistic.
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. But if you can be a one-loss team or undefeated, but in this case one loss, using your hypothetical, against a schedule the likes of which Alabama has and will have played, I don't see there was any question. I mean, look at Bama got a first-place vote last week in the poll, based on the strength of schedule.
Now, Nick Saban has been saying for the last 2 weeks that this team needs a break, and they get it this Saturday with a bye. I want to go back to the last 8 weeks of the season, what you've seen on both offense and defense. Let's start with the offensive line. How good has their play been? What do you expect to see the last 4 weeks?
The play has been very good, particularly when healthy. Particularly when healthy. Now, that's not an Einstein-like statement.
Talking about Ryan Kelly, you're talking about Dominic Jackson.
You're talking about, Cam Robinson, Dominic Jackson. These guys, when they are healthy and playing to their fullest, they are very, very good.
How about the development of Jake Coker? How much has the offensive line played into that, or how much is it the fact that Coker is becoming a legit quarterback?
Here's a young man who finally has his team. Okay? When he was at FSU, he played sparingly behind Jameis Winston. Last year, he played sparingly behind, Blake Sims. But here's a guy who was recruited by two of the finest coaches, Jimbo and Nick Saban. They don't make many mistakes on the recruiting trail. And finally, he gets the repetitions, not only in practice, but in the game. And reps in a game far different than repetitions in practice. And then he gets confidence, knowing that, hey, if something goes wrong, if this play doesn't work out correctly, I'm still going to be out there for the next snap. That's a big deal up here. And then you've got the fact that he has won the team over. He's been, he's done awfully well. He's done himself proud.
And with the way the defense is playing right now, they don't need him to be a superstar. That defensive front seven has been so good. Can they get any better?
Well, they'll always say they can get better.
Say they can, but can they realistically?
Well, I don't know. That's you know, the next snap I take is going to be my first, so I can't say if they can get better or not. But they are quite good. When you get, you know, well, the guy you used to cover in Arkansas, when you get Coach Bielema saying they must have a machine down there, just cranking out.
Ultimate compliment, right?
You know,
there.
It's an ultimate compliment. When you talk to NFL guys, you say, man. And I don't subscribe to I don't subscribe to the fact that a college team can beat an NFL team on a regular basis at all. But when you talk to NFL scouts and they say, man, there's talent on that field.
Looking at the secondary, everybody's been beating these guys up for the last year, saying that they're not the same Tide secondary they used to be in 2009, 11, 12, everything like that. What have you seen from them, though? They've looked like they've gotten more improved and confident, really, I think.
They have matured. Those who have been here have matured. I think the way they are being positioned, guys who have been moved around by the coaching staff, they have made some wonderful decisions to take guys who, you know, might have been corners and move them here, guys who are, you know, just move things around. And the other part of this entire equation is the way the entire defense has been restructured, rebuilt, redesigned. Coach Saban and Kirby Smart and all these guys, they have brought in players now who can play the entire time on defense. You don't necessarily have to worry. Yeah, you'd still love to have specialized units if you could, but sometimes you just can't because of the, you know, because of the time and the hurry up that's going on. But they went out and found players and moved guys around so that they can play every down in a sequence. You don't have to pull this guy out. You don't have to worry about, well, goodness, if they quickly hurry up, I've got this guy out there in a passing situation and he shouldn't be out there in a pass. You don't have that nearly as much. So all those things combined have made this defense what it is.
Well, they're all getting a much-needed break this week with the bye today. Eli Gold, thanks for being with us. He does not get a bye this week.
No,
He's got to go to Martinsville.
I'm off to Martinsville for tomorrow's race, and the weatherman hopefully will cooperate. It's looking like it might be a little wet, but heading up there to take care of a little NASCAR business, and then LSU a week from tonight.
I'll be back on the call next Saturday for LSU here on WIAT 42. We'll be back after this.